Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Flip Side. On the first Monday of every month, we talk about any topic in mindset. And every other Monday after that, it's any topic in real estate investing. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Jacqueline Francis. Now, before we get started, I want to share some exciting news with you. I have created an application. It's called Refam, and it is transforming the way real estate investors, real estate professionals, and real estate mentors work in our industry. So if you're curious about learning more about that, then go to Real Estate Investor Fam, FAM, realestateinvestorfam.com and learn what you can do. It's a social networking platform. You're going to love it. And it gives you so much, it's just going to help you in your business so much. Now back to our show. On the flip side, we talk about, like I said, mindset, or we talk about real estate investing. And so today's guest speaker, Jacqueline Francis, she is going to be talking about intentions. We're going to chat about intentions, which I think is an amazing topic to talk about. So if you guys are ready to bring her on the stage, send her some love, send her some thumbs up, and let's get her on. See if, I don't know why I always struggle to see if we can get Jacqueline on. We got you on. Hey girl, how are you?
How are you? I'm so glad to be here. Happy Monday.
Happy
How
Monday.
how
Thanks
are
for
you?
coming on. I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much. Ready for a new week and ready to, take life and make it everything that we can make it.
Awesome. Totally. And just before we get started, just tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what's your real estate strategies, and on the mentorship, on the mindset side, what do you do on the mindset
Yes.
side?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Francis. I am the other half of Francis 5 Properties. My husband Leo and I, we own multifamily. That is our strategy. We love purchasing, and at the time it was great doing some burrs, and right now we're looking into some land development. We're building a house, which has been absolutely phenomenal to watch something start off as nothing and you really make it into this beautiful home. So follow us on our journey at Francis 5 Properties to see how that's going. I'm also a self-image and mindset coach, so I work with you to help you build a brand new image of who you are, because if you don't understand, we all live from a certain way that we see ourselves. And usually it can be sad or upsetting, or, it's full of doubt or worry. And if we're able to shift that image of who we are into something more empowering, we can really take life by, whatever we want and do everything that we can with it.
Mhm.
So,
Love it. And so so today's topic is intention. And
yeah.
so what did you want to start off with intention? What did you want to share?
Well, what I wanted to, I mean, we are in November right now, so that's 2 months away from 2024. And people have a lot of goals and dreams. Like, I have a lot of things that I want for 2024. But how do we get there? How do we, just start saying we want all these things? And I think it starts with having the intention, setting the intention of what we want for our lives. Otherwise, if we don't set an intention for the goals that we want, we can get lost. Intentions, goals,
Mhm.
they're like a roadmap to the life that we want to create. But it's got to come from
Mhm.
us, right? It's got to come from what we want to create from our life.
Love
So I
that.
want to talk a little bit, yeah, talk a little bit of about that with you, and ask you as well, like, have you set any intentions for 2023 or going into 2024? What's, do you have a ritual around that?
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I definitely have always loved setting goals. That's always been something, actually, to the point that I find really funny that my ex actually, I feel like he saw goals as like never being good enough. And
Oh,
so that was actually one of our downfalls, I think, in our relationship, was because I don't think he ever thought that he thought that we were good enough. Whereas, like, for me, a goal was definitely to you said it, you have like a direction to go into. It's a lot of fun. You say like the journey is always so much fun getting there. Once you achieve that, you're just kind of like, what's next, right? To me, it was more of an exciting thing. For him, it was like a daunting thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when
So
you
that
look
was
at it
something.
that way, sorry, but yes, when you look at it that way, you're energetically saying like, oh, this is so hard to, when you're in that energy, do you think you're ever gonna like accomplish the goals or even look at them like they're fun?
Yeah. And one of the other things that I love that you said that I actually wanted to reiterate was things that you want, because we actually manifest everything. Something that I love that I've heard is our life is perfect to our thoughts. So if we're thinking
Ooh,
things, you love that? Yeah, if
I
someone told me
love
that,
it.
then I fell in love with it. Because always hear like, the perfect life, perfect everything. And actually, if you think about it, you're living the life that you've set for yourself, and it's perfect to your thoughts.
Yes,
Whatever your ideas are, your thoughts are, you look around and you see what it is that you have. You've actually chosen that life for you, and your mind is like that. Like you say you want something, and and your mind helps you get it done, whatever it is. And it's like understanding, the good to the bad, right? Like, because you can be like, I want to make $1 million this next year, right? And then, but if your mind's saying like, no, you
yeah,
can't, but you're like, oh, but I'm sending the attention. I want $1 million next year. It's happening there, and then the back of your mind is like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not it is. And you don't realize the actual belief behind it
yes, yes,
is the negative one.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I
can I
wanted to just reiterate that because I loved what you said. It's like take control of your life and do what you actually want to
Mhm.
do in life,
Mhm.
right?
And I wanted to speak to that because what you just described is when someone has an idea consciously about wanting to make $1 million or whatever that is for their business, or even if it's to lose weight, but our subconscious mind cannot believe that, we're always going to manifest the dominant feeling. So the dominant feeling really is, what is it that you're feeling that is more like, that is more powerful than what you're saying that you want, right? Because on
Mhm.
one level, you're saying you want this, but you don't feel that way. So what really is going to manifest is the way you feel about the thing, not the thing that you
Mhm.
actually want.
I love that. Yeah, and then the example I was saying, basically the doubt is there, and then that's the reason why you don't feel it. I mean, sorry, you're
Right.
not getting what you want because you're just like
Right.
in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, okay, I could make $1 million.
Yeah. So something my coach, Hannah, would always say is, you never get what you want. You always get what you feel about what you want,
Mhm.
right? So it's always paying attention to, what am I feeling? What is the dominant feeling that I'm in today? Because if it is worry, lack, doubt, or fear, that is what's going to project, right? That is what we're going to be in alignment with. So when we talk about setting intentions, it's looking at your life. Okay, so let me define what an intention is, first of all. And I got
Yeah.
this really great definition. An intention is an energetic statement that describes what success looks, feels, and acts like in the area of your life that you want to impact.
Ooh, I love that. Hmm.
Right? So when we
Hmm.
set intentions, we have to get clear on what is it that we want out of life, for our life, not for, our husband that's told us what we wanted, or our children, but deep down, what is it that we want? And we start building from that intention, and we become clear on what we want our life to look like. But that would also mean, working on things that can, how can I say, that can sabotage us getting to the thing that we want. Working on our mindset, working on our beliefs, going a little bit deeper and saying, what are the things that we believe in? Because if I want to do really well in my business, but I don't feel worthy of doing that, then it's never going to happen, no matter how much I want it to happen, right?
100%. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like exactly what you're saying. Like, I mean, it's exactly what you do, right? You're teaching people on self-image. It's like learning to change that view of yourself, to actually believe that you can actually do what it is that you want, you know? So that's very interesting. So do you have any tips for people? Because doubt is a really doubt or fear, all these worries are very big. And something also that I learned about it was that if you look from a neutral point,
Mm.
you know, that what you get a neutral, if you do it happiness, like if you feel the emotion of happiness, you actually get it's like 3 times more than neutral.
Mm.
But doubt and fear and all those, I believe it's like 10 times more. So it's
Yeah.
actually those negative feelings, and that was and the reason why they were saying that was because someone was saying it's like, do you want to have more positive thoughts? It's like, or yeah, it's like, do you want to have control of your positive thoughts? And they're saying like, no, you actually want to learn to eliminate those negative thoughts because those negative ones, you having that, for example, one negative thought, which is 10 times more than, let's say, even 3 positive ones, is still actually more, you know, so that control over the negative thoughts is actually very important to be able to minimize them and if anything like obviously the perfect scenario is to completely eradicate that,
Yeah.
right? Do you
Yeah.
have any tips for the viewers on how people can, you know, get rid of those thoughts or minimize them to help them, you know, get those, you know, to build up those, to have those intentions and actually be able to succeed in making them, you know, manifest?
Yeah. Well, first I would say understand what thoughts are coming up for you. You need to pay attention to your life. You need to pay attention to your thoughts. And it can sound really daunting, like, what do you mean? You know, I don't think that way. But when somebody asks you a question, or if you're having a conversation and you can start to pick up on the language that you use, you can start to pick up on what you say to the person that can start to feel like you're not moving, you know, in the positive direction that you want to. You cannot change anything unless you become aware of it. So to change even a negative thought, you have to become aware that you even have the negative thought in the first place. So I would spend like a week writing down things that are going to come up for you, right? Whether it's, oh, I don't feel good enough to do this. I want to take my business here, but you know, I'm scared that I'm not getting enough clients. I have a burr project coming up. I don't feel that I'm going to get the value for it. So whatever negative things that you might be telling yourself and that you're feeling, get it down on paper because I think then you can see, you'll have something tangible to look at. From that place, start working on where you do find yourself to be like, how can I say this? Where you find yourself in other areas of your life that you've been successful or that you felt worthy or that you felt confident. Because then when you start to bring those thoughts and ideas back to yourself, you can start to then look at areas in your life where you haven't felt that way and start to replace it slowly, either through an affirmation that you truly, truly, truly put your heart into and believe. You can do it through auto suggestion, where you record your voice and have it playing in the background. Listen to music that makes you feel good, so it lifts your vibration. And you can't change anything unless it's done through repetition. So
Mm-hmm.
it's work. And some people are not going to want to do that because it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like this is really dumb. Why am I doing this? And your body's going to want to resist it. But if you can stick to it, like they say 21 days, right, to change a habit, if you can do it for 30 days, you're going to come out of that changing that belief. And you're going to starve the belief essentially in order to have this new belief. And then you do it one day, you do it second day, and by the end of the 30 days, it's just going to be a habit.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And it's so true, even just at the beginning, what you're saying about the awarenesses is like just being aware of those negative feelings or thoughts, I should say, because I completely agree with you. I remember I used to think that I was like, oh, I'm such a positive person. I'm not a negative person. And I specifically, when I actually started realizing my thoughts more was when I did a challenge. And I did that
Oh,
75 hard challenge. And that's
ooh.
where it really made me actually pay attention to all the thoughts that are going on my mind. And that's when I was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, maybe outwardly I'm not a negative person, but inwardly, I was just like,
Mm.
my God, what's going on in my mind? It was doing anything and everything to make me stop doing 75 hard.
Yeah, because we come up with all these excuses, right? Or what
Yes.
seems like excuses, because our body is not wanting to do like the thing to have the change. Because we like our body gets in alignment with the comfort, with doing the habits that we have picked up on. So to change
Mhm.
that new habit, it's screaming at you like,
Yeah. It's like,
no, it's
don't
late. Don't do
do
it. You can do it
it.
tomorrow. So something that I love that Joe Dispenza always says is that you have to think bigger than your emotions.
hmm That's where like having control of yourself, that's where you really start learning how little control you have over yourself and how much you really have to start taking control and being the person in the driver's seat. At least that's how it felt for me. When I saw that happening, that's when I was like, oh my God. It's like, wow, like my thoughts are really in control of me instead of me being in control of those thoughts. It was a crazy feeling to realize that because like I said, I just never thought that I was a negative person, but I realized like that when you have the habit, you really once it's become a habit, you ignore it,
Yeah, it's
right? Like it's
unconscious.
already there, you don't need to pay
Unconscious.
attention to it. Yeah, it becomes unconscious. You don't need to think about it because it's just it does its thing and you don't need to worry about it, you know? And then when you're trying to level up, you're like all these habits that you've had for who knows how long, all of a sudden, it starts like coming up and yeah, that was one big thing that I realized in my mind. I was like, wow, I do have a lot of negative thoughts in my mind and things that I never actually realized that were excuses until
Yeah.
until I actually did this, the 75 hard. And that's when I realized, oh wow, there were some things even I was just like, no, 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 like you just don't even realize an excuse. You're saying things, or at least with me, I was saying things, but I actually didn't realize some of the things I was saying were excuses. Until I would look back at, what happened in the day, and I'm like, wow, that was an excuse.
Yeah. But you know what? You became aware that it was an excuse. Some people would it's just so natural to say these things, right? This is, and it comes back to self-image because this is the identity that you're living from, that you are someone that makes excuses. But if you can build a self-image of, you know what, I take responsibility for my actions, and you put in what you are creating for your life and creating for yourself, and you start to like live in that image, that is who you'll become instead of creating the excuses, wanting to blame other people,
Mhm.
not like our thoughts are so powerful that they create our future, that they create, how we feel about certain things. Because the minute you think about something, and if it's not good, it's going to make you feel a certain way. And then you're going
Mhm.
to go out into the world and you're going to be mean or you're going to be sad or you're going to be upset about something. And then all of that energy is going to come right back to you in different ways. But if you can
100%.
control, yeah, if you can control your thoughts and always be able to know when something doesn't feel good and that's trying to creep up, you're controlling then the outcome, right? You're not
Mhm.
letting the circumstance control you. But it
100%.
takes practice. It takes practice. It's a
Yeah.
muscle, it's a skill, it's a habit you have to develop.
And like that, I think, and something that I felt like you were alluding to before was, some things come so naturally to us. We've been able to build the habit and continue improving those things, whereas other things, I feel like you have to put a little bit more energy into it. And I like that you're saying, look at other parts of your life and see, your improvements because it helps you also realize you did work for it and you are, improving. And it's just, you have to push it in that area of your life, especially, for example, like that. Like, I never thought about mindset until I think it was like 3 years ago, or yeah, 3 years ago. And that was because by chance, my mentor was super into mindset because I was all about really the real estate knowledge. I was just like, I need
Yeah.
knowledge. And I was just like, don't give me your foo-foo, overly positive like stuff. I was like, come on now, I'm an engineer. I don't need to hear that kind of stuff. But it was, but I noticed, and you subconsciously start realizing the things, right? Where I'm just like, but I do like going to that, like, because there's different sessions a week. And there's always like Friday personal development, I think they called it. And I just loved being there to just feel pumped up. Like it energized me. And it wasn't until like 6 months later where I realized that was actually what I needed. I
Yeah.
actually needed mindset, and that's what got me. I was just like, wow, people need to understand the importance of mindset.
They do, and you need to understand like who you are, who you're being, right? Because our being comes from our doing. So if you don't
Mhm.
understand that, like how you want to show up in this world, then you're going to do things that's going to be totally out of alignment with your true self. You're going to show up in different ways. But if we can build that, person, because I mean, we have picked up things throughout our life, our childhood, that has made us who we are up to this point in our life. But if we are intentional about creating the life that we desire, it starts from creating who we want to show up as every single day. And mindset is huge because if you don't have like your mind to know that this world is like there's going to be circumstances that happen all the time. But if we can control them, we then are in a better position to experience life as it's given to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And actually, what you're talking about, basically your perspective, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what you're talking about. Would you love to? I'd love for you to expand more on that because I think that is also a huge part of all of this is changing your perspective, and even how do you change it so that, like I was saying, you this perspective, like for me, goal setting was amazing.
Yeah.
For my ex, it was like he thought of it as if he's not good enough. So how do you help or yeah, I don't know if you want to expand more on what is perspective and how it can help you improve your life to achieve your whatever your goals are.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think having a perspective shift is so important. And again, it's mindset work, right? It's knowing that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. It's things always work out, but people don't realize these principles or these little sayings because maybe they haven't been exposed to to other people that can share in their successes or understand that life is about a perspective shift. And sometimes if you can see things without, and like you talked about this earlier, without giving things meaning, and they are just what it is, and it's not directed towards you, it has nothing to do with you, you can then really experience life in such a different way. But it's how do you change your perspective on something? And I think that's hard for a lot of people to do if they are not being mentored or if they're not in a room with people that are trying to elevate their life. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
like if you're working 9 to 5 and you're only around people that work 9 to 5 and nobody talks about mindset and everybody's complaining and everyone's hating their job, well, that is all you're going to know. You step out of that circle and you're around people that are like, well, that happened to me because you know what, there's something greater for me out there. This happened because it had to happen. Otherwise, I would have been able to get this. You're never going to see that, right? Like for me personally, I didn't understand any of this until I stepped out of that box. And then it was like, whoa, life
What is this
just
world?
became colorful. Yeah, it's not so black and white.
Mm-hmm. I
There's
love
always
that.
better.
Yeah, I see Shannon saying that. She's like, yeah, so important who you surround yourself with. I completely also agree what you're saying too. It is so impactful. You don't realize the impact it has on you when you are around the right people,
Yeah.
or around like people that are going in the same direction as you because, like it keeps you either motivated or you see what people you're learning from their mistakes because you're also learning from yours. And there's just like so much where you can also be around people that understand you because you do start realizing an entrepreneur life is very different to a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the world at all. And they try to like listen and be like, yeah, okay, and try to talk to you. But you can tell that they have like no idea. They don't understand the experiences you're going through and stuff. And so it's kind of hard.
It is. And I mean, being an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, even a coach, like you have to be able to shift your perspective. So look what's happening in the market right now. There's a lot of, things that are changing really fast. And if you take on that worry and doubt, you're gonna sink. So you have to know, like through understanding, the real estate market or talking to other people, the shifts that happen, the ups and downs, right?
Mhm.
We can't blame anybody, for not having the awareness because it's everyone's own personal journey to come to an understanding of how they want to see life and how life works for them. I love the universal laws, right? Like the law of rhythm, knowing that life can go in flow and ebbs and flows. Knowing that, the law of opposites, when there's contrast, it's always going to happen in our lives. The good is always going to be accompanied by the bad, light and dark, hot and cold. This is just how life works.
And
And if you can
it's actually a
live,
very good thing to use. That law is really good when you're going
yes,
negative, finding its polar
yes,
opposite, actually. If you're feeling
yeah,
like the worst person in the world, then you start going the other way around. No, like you said, the affirmations, right? Putting those
yeah.
affirmations in and saying that you're amazing and whatever the opposite feeling is, and just like drilling yourself with as
Yeah, you
much.
got to embed that into your soul, embody those words, right? And this is how you also create yourself through having like a daily declaration or an affirmation list that you are firmly saying every single day. And you literally become those words because there's no way that you can hold something in your mind and say something constantly in repetition and you do not become it. But a lot of people
Mhm.
don't understand this. They don't take the time to go within. People live out of circumstances. They don't see money in their bank account. They get worried. They, create fear. They create doubt. But then what you're doing is creating more of the lack
Mhm.
instead of, figuring out, hey, you know what? I need to go within myself. Everything that I need is within me. My happiness is within me. How can I be happy now with everything that I have? Gratitude has been huge when I started to understand how important it is to give thanks to everything all the time, to live in gratitude, right? It's
Mhm.
not just do it temporarily, but you live in it. This is how you can bring more things to you. When you're living in gratitude, you will have more things to be grateful for.
I love that. And it also starts, I think that even also, at least for me, I felt like doing gratitude actually also helped me start changing like that, my perspective a lot more. Because
Yeah.
I remember the days where I'm just like, what happened that's good? I'm like, it was a pretty boring day yesterday. I'm like, what am I happy for? Like trying to find those, you start, once you do it daily, I feel like trying to find the mundane little things that you're happy about was actually also, I felt like that started helping me even change my perspective because then I was just all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, I am actually grateful for that. That is really nice. I had time to, let's say, relax or something.
Yeah. And then when we talk about the intentions, like we can be grateful for the things that we have immediately around us, but we can also be grateful for the things that we're calling into our lives, the goals, our dreams, and feel as if they're already here. Have gratitude for them before they show up in our lives. That's how
Hmm.
we like draw them closer to us. That's how I feel anyways.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. And what about and I guess you were saying actually before, so it's repetition that
Yeah.
helps us even starting to believe it in
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, because when you start to like say something for the first time, like, I am worthy of success, or it may feel really inauthentic. It might feel like, oh, that didn't really feel so great because maybe you've never believed that you're worthy of something. So when your belief is stronger than something you're trying to say, it's going to overpower. Again, the dominant feeling is I'm not worthy or I'm not successful or, everything around me sucks, whatever that is for you. And then you start to change it by speaking life into these words. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take time for you to truly embody that because you're penetrating yourself. It's all in your subconscious mind. All of our beliefs, our habits, our self-image, it's all in our subconscious mind. And in order to change and shift that, we can't just consciously think, oh, I'm going to be successful at this if you don't feel that you're going to really be successful at it. So you got to take these ideas and really like implant them, like go deep, say it every day, believe it, write it, whatever you got to do to go within your subconscious mind, right? This is why people do stuff at night or first thing in the morning. That is when they say our subconscious mind is open. It's more receptive to an idea or to a thought. So that is the best way to practice this because you want to really embody that message that you're telling yourself. You want to believe it firmly. And the momentum, create momentum in your life, right? The one good thought will lead to another and to lead to another because life, it's not just the good thoughts, right? Like we can't just think positive and everything in our life is going to be positive. It's a lot more than that. It takes work. It takes being committed to the outcome, committed to like, you know what, I am going to create this amazing life, but who do I need to be first? I can't be over here complaining and worrying and create this beautiful life. I've got to change because once you change within you, everything outside of you begins to change. So what's that saying that goes, it's not the things that you look at. When you start to change, the things around you start to change. I should know it. It's just not coming to me right now, but yeah, right? Like,
yeah, so I say it again. I feel like it almost came to me. I feel like I know which one
yeah,
you're
it's like
talking about.
when we look at something,
It's
the way we look at
like,
something,
yeah, go on.
the way we look at something changes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like totally butchering
I
it.
feel like I get what you're saying. It's like, for example, like the two of us can go into the forest and see it completely different because we
Yeah.
choose to see in our lenses,
Yes.
and whatever our lens is could be so different to someone else. It's like that. Like for example, like I love going for walks or bike rides in the forest, whereas there's like other people that like hate it, and it's very interesting because they'll even. I remember once I was saying like, oh, I love bike riding in the forest because, especially in the heat and the stuff, you don't feel it as much in the forest,
Yeah.
right? And this other person, I was happy, we were in a line, I was talking like at Subway, and then this other person's like, oh, for me it's the opposite. I hate walking in the forest because it's
Oh,
so hot in there. And for me, I was like, I feel like you're defying like physics right now, but imagine how strong her mind is
yeah.
that she's like defying physics because I'm like, dude, these trees are shading you. So I'm like, I don't even know how that makes sense that you can get hotter in there, you know?
Right?
But our
I know.
perspective can play like amazing games, and it's like, why not condition it to make you feel amazing all the time instead of, for example, like these other scenarios where they make you feel down and like that you hate being in the forest because
Yeah.
like all the heat is stuck in there, or whatever, right?
I know. It's so true. And I mean, a lot of times we don't like something because of really just a past experience. And then we take that past experience and we create from it. We create new experiences from our past experiences. And sometimes we just have to let the past be the past. We're not defined by our past. We can be something new every single day and create a beautiful future when we're not tied to emotions and feelings of the past. Right? Like it's and I know and I understand, some people cannot just get over things that have happened to them, but I truly believe that you can. Like if you make a firm choice to decide that you want better for your future, it's then creating it. It's not living in the past and bringing those thoughts and emotions into your every single day. Like you do not have to be a victim in this lifetime
I
to
Love
for
that.
your
And it's so
life.
true. Yeah, 100% I agree with you. It is exactly like you're saying, right? It's like you have to want to change.
Yeah.
And I feel like especially for that want, that desire needs to be so big that
Yeah.
you're willing to transform yourself
Yes.
into the new person you're going to become to. Because if you're not, because it is a lot of work. I mean, the journey of going to getting a goal is you're learning. You're going to have lots of falls. You're going to have to pick yourself up many times.
Yeah.
And it's just going to like slowly make your way there or quickly, whichever way you want to take it. But it's up to us, yeah, to make those changes and like actually want to change them because you're right. Like if you don't want to do it, you're
No,
never
you're not
gonna
going to do it.
change. Yeah,
Or
you're never
sometimes you
gonna change
don't even know
yourself.
that you need to change. There are a lot of people just living day to day, living the same thing, same thoughts, patterns, actions, beliefs every single day. And then sometimes I'm sure in their moments, they're like, wow, how come nothing changes in my life? Without realizing that it's them. Like, you've got to change. Your outside world is not going to magically change until you change. That's where you're going to see everything differently,
Hmm.
from a new lens, from a new perspective, right? My coach Hina always says the journey is the manifestation,
Hmm.
because we have this goal, we want this thing that right now we do not have. But the journey really is in becoming, who are we becoming in that process to get to the thing? Because then when we have it, but if we believe we already have it, when it comes, we're like, okay, amazing, right? But if we
Hmm.
don't feel worthy of having the thing, we're always going to be chasing after it.
100%. And like that, it's always a chase means you're never getting to it because you don't even believe that you are like accepting of it. Like you don't believe that you can accept that thing.
Yeah. Or on the opposite of that, there are people that work really, really hard, and that's their belief. Like, I work hard to gain the success. So then they're seeing the evidence of working hard to build success. But then they don't realize what else is happening in their lives, right? That they are going to feel like a failure if they don't attain that thing, because they've always attained it in the same way that they've attained it. So now it
Hmm.
takes away from who they're being, because now they feel guilt, they feel sadness, they feel worry, because their life is dependent on this one thing, working hard to attain the thing. But there's so many different ways to get to where we want to go without putting guilt and pressure on ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Why are we not creating a beautiful life? We're going to have things that are not going to feel so good. And we're human. We have to experience that. And that's okay, but it's not staying in that place, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it is like you said, I feel like that is very hard to do because I feel like we're ingrained to think, like you said, you have to work hard. And in the sense we see the word hard as in like if it's not making your life miserable,
Yeah,
then it means you're not working hard enough. And it's
right.
like, that's not the right definition of hard, you know? Like, we don't want to be miserable, you know? It's like you can actually achieve things without being hard and miserable. But I feel like a lot of us have that belief that it's
Yeah,
like, if you're not working hard, which for us, that definition means like you should be miserable, then
yeah.
it's like all of a sudden you're not going to get what you want. But that isn't it. That's just because we put those definitions in
We
ourselves of
do.
what our road to getting something done really means.
Yeah, and maybe we picked that up from our parents. Maybe we picked that up from society telling us that you have to work hard. It's like a badge of honor to work hard,
Hmm.
to get no sleep, to grind, hustle and grind culture, right? But I
Hmm.
believe there's a different way. There is a different way. We do not have to make what we do hard. We can make it easy if we choose to make it easy. But that concept to a lot of people is like, what? How's it easy? You don't know. You've never had it like this. But it's a belief. Does it serve
Hmm.
you? If
Yeah.
you can change that belief and make it easy, why don't you?
Hmm. And I mean, and what tips do you have for people for that even to try? I guess those are probably the same. So maybe if anything, like reiterating the tips again, because I'm sure it's probably the same thing even for things like this, having those kind of beliefs that, for example, like you have to work hard. and redefining what that means for you.
Yeah, and again, it's knowing that these things are maybe not serving you. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I work hard all the time, but I'd love to get more time with my family, but I just, like I work so hard and it feels so hard to work. But then it's like, well, okay, where did I pick this up from? What can I do in my life to start making some of the things that I do feel easy, right? And it's coming back to the self and who you're being. If you're choosing to believe that everything that you do is hard, that is going to be your belief. So now you start nurturing a new belief. You start believing, like, it really is about belief and having faith in yourself. That, you know what, I'm going to do this differently to get a different outcome. Because if we continue to do the same thing, we're always going to get the same outcome until we choose to do something differently. Even with beliefs, we start choosing a new belief, we start nurturing that belief, and then that will manifest into the thing that we truly desire.
Mm-hmm.
Where in your
I
life can you give me an example where, you've thought something has been hard, but then you just kind of like turn sideways and shifted your perspective, and then you're like, hey, you know what, like, let's take for example the 75 hard. How did you overcome some of those thoughts and get through?
I think my mind was still hard. I don't know if it was ever easy, to be honest.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love your honesty.
that's actually, it's funny you say that. That is actually, even currently right now, something I'm still working on. Like, one of my problems is, like, I'm very impatient. It's like I want things to happen now, and they aren't. And then because of that, I know I'm making myself, like, my life harder.
Yeah.
And, like, specifically for me, even actually, was it on Friday, I was taking my dog for a walk in the forest, which usually is what, like, kind of chills me out and calms me out.
Yeah.
I could not even get there. I couldn't even, like, get myself to relax. I was, like, so tense. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not gonna get the things that I want when I'm, like, so tensed up. And it was something, like, I ended up afterwards just going for, like, to work out downstairs because I'm like, like, I can't relax.
Yeah. So then in that situation, it's like, what was bothering you? Like, were you able to sit still and be like, okay, why can't I, what is it that I'm feeling right now that is not making me feel calm? Or like, why isn't the walk helping? Because certain tools like meditation, journaling, listening to music, calling a good friend can help us feel better, how it can shift our moods, right? But if you're still having that resistance, you got to sit with that and be like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
What is causing that resistance? Did you end up figuring that out?
I'm just impatient. I want everything to come now, and it's not even now. But my goal is, like, a big goal, and I've been trying to go forward with it for, like, about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm just, like, I think I'm in a phase of, like, doubt, and I'm trying to, like you said, get that out of me,
Mm.
because it's something that it is a huge goal that I have. And and it's, like, something that I just have to keep on plugging towards and going towards it. But yeah, I think I'm just, like, going through a phase of doubting myself because
Because it
I'm not,
hasn't
like,
happened yet?
pardon?
Is it because it hasn't happened yet, or you just want it to happen like right now?
Because it hasn't happened yet. I guess a little bit of both, because it hasn't happened, and I just wanted to, like, I want the goal to be done, but then that's not the point, right? The point is the journey.
Yeah. So then, like, what are you doing daily to make sure that you can see that vision every single day and you truly wholeheartedly believe that it is going to happen, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where's the doubt coming from?
Mm-hmm.
If
This organization in my life.
so,
Actually, that's what I've done recently now. I've actually now have, like, daily plans. I'll have, like, 2, 3 tasks now that I focus each day on, that I have to at least get these 2, 3 tasks done or get closer, which will get me closer to my big goal. Whereas before, I was still thinking too big. I wasn't thinking on a daily type of thing. I was thinking in a bigger scale.
but
And so
that's okay.
I'm
You're
trying to.
supposed to think big. Oh my
Oh, the
God,
goal is big, but I mean, like, I wasn't thinking in, like,
oh,
what can I do
you weren't
today?
breaking it down
Yeah,
into smaller chunks.
what could I do today to get to my big goal? Like, the big goal is still going to be there, but it was more that I wasn't focusing on, like, what can I get done today that will get me close to that goal? That was my problem. I was just kind of, and I think I was just getting, just stuck in the grind of things instead of sometimes, you have to pull yourself out again and being
Yeah.
like, okay, I've been doing work, 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 but is it taking me in the direction that I need to take? So right now I'm in a pulling myself out of that phase and like readjusting and thinking, okay, is this helping me get closer? And it hasn't. So now it's like allowing myself to be like, okay, pull myself out. Now let's reanalyze, rethink, learn from this and figure out, okay, what do I need to do? So right now I'm like that. And so I've gone to like daily tasks, just like what I can do today to get me closer to kind of just like refocus myself because I think I was kind of like veering off to the left.
Okay. But do you think that's where the doubt started to come in, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that for me, I was having, I think it was because of my disorganization, or no, my doubt, I guess, came from not getting the results from what I was doing, actually. That's
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just because you didn't, so that was an assumption that you made based on not seeing immediate results, you started to doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then you started to act in the assumption of, well, this is not working, so that means everything that I'm doing might be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then I'm stuck in that like negative types of
Right.
feeling, which doesn't help your situation at
No,
all, or mine,
it
I should
doesn't.
say.
No. So then it's like, where can you then change that assumption and say, okay, you know what? It may appear to be this way at the moment.
Mhm.
However, you know what? I know this is going to work out for me. And have you, like, do you do visualizations?
That's part of like my tasks. Like
Okay.
I do like gratitude, and then I talk about actually like what feel freedom feels like for me to help me
Right.
get like emotionally connected, and then I go into my visualization of that who I am with my goal, and then I do my three tasks. So that's something like that. Like they always say like slow down to speed up. So I am now
Mm-hmm.
in a phase of trying to slow down to speed up. So I'm trying to be good with like just doing those things every day. I'm just trying to get like my like three tasks done. Although it's still hard, but
Well, you cannot say that it's hard. Like, and
I
again, it's
know.
language because when you start saying this thing again, it's like your subconscious mind is listening to it be hard. So then you're like, it's going to show up as hard, right?
Mhm,
So if you can just be like, you know what, this is easy. I got this, and I
mhm,
can make this work, even when it feels hard. You're just reprogramming, right? The
mhm,
way it's showing up for you.
mhm,
And
mhm,
again, it's language. And how much are you telling yourself this thing when you should
mhm.
be telling yourself something else?
Exactly. And you see like that I don't have the belief yet, right? Because I'm still, like you said, I'm still saying it's hard, so I clearly don't believe it yet. So it's like ingraining. So
Yeah, it's creating what you want. And like if you can affirm every single day, and even when you're, in your little quiet moments and you just have that playing in the background that like, yeah, this is gonna work, and you start to feel what that feels like when you actually achieve your goal, and you start to hold that with you every single day as you go move forward in your day. I truly believe that then you can start to shift from not like feeling the doubt,
mhm. I
act in the
completely.
assumption of it already being what you want it to be. And you
Mhm,
move through the day with that assumption that it's working out, that it's worked out for you already.
mhm, mhm. Yes, thank you. I feel like I needed that a reminder. Because yeah, I love that. Any final tips for the viewers that you'd like to give them um, before we end it off today? Any tips that you'd like to or just like even a summarization, remind everyone of? Yeah, I feel like we all need reminders, right? It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
remember.
we do. And this is the work, right? Like, just know that you guys are all capable of achieving anything that you really, really want to do. But bring the focus back on you. Go within yourself and see what you need to change. Become aware of the thoughts that you're thinking that is not moving you forward in the direction. And like we just had this conversation right now where even in language, if you're telling yourself something is hard or it's not doable, that is what's going to show up for you. What is the dominant feeling that you're holding? And if you can start to dissect that and shift it into something more positive, you will then become a vibrational match to the things that you are in alignment for. And you can start to have and see the things that you desire in your life coming to you. So stay focused on you.
I love it. Yeah, thank you so much, Jacqueline. If you guys love what you heard from Jacqueline, she's going to be tagged on here so you can follow her. You can see what she's up to, take a lot of her mindset stuff, absorb it,
You're
get some
amazing.
coaching. Yeah, and if you guys love what you've heard from me, every week we have 2 shows on Mondays and Thursdays. So if you guys love what you hear, follow me and you'll get to hear all the different shows we have. You can see what else I'm up to too. Jacqueline, thank you so much. It was so much fun to chat with you.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Have an
everyone.
amazing rest of your week. Bye.
You too. Bye, everyone. Bye, Jacqueline.